So here we are in London with Pete Agnew of Nazareth. Pete, good afternoon. How are you?
Very well. It's a pleasure to be talking to you.
Fantastic. And it's 50 years since Nazareth started. And to celebrate that, a couple of really good things that are happening. First of all...
Celebrate, 50 years. I don't know if I've used the word celebrate, you know.
But we're celebrating.
So I can breathe out a wee bit.
And fans of Nazareth, long-standing fans of Nazareth, have really got a reason to celebrate because you've got a brand new album that's out, tattooed on my brain. There's also a box set, so we'd like to talk a little bit about both of those. So why don't we get started? Let's start by talking about the new album, because that's kind of front and centre on everyone's mind. Was it important that with Carl and the band that you recorded a brand new studio album to cement his kind of position?
Definitely. I mean, we had to get an album out just to consolidate, let everybody know this is the band, you know. But also, it wasn't just like a case of get one out every 3 years. This was a very important one because this is the one we didn't have any wiggle room in this one, you know. It had to be a really good album because we'd get thumped otherwise, you know. We're having a new singer and all that stuff. So it turns out that if I can say myself, it's a fantastic album. It turned out even better than our wildest dreams. And so it's good to have an album with him, but to have a really great album with him is just manna. You know, so we're really happy with it. And I think, you know, over the last 3.5 years that Carl's been with us, he's really built up a good fan base with a live thing. You know, but there's a lot of people who haven't seen him. You know, everybody that's seen him with the band and seen the band, they all know it's been great. You know, it's really, it's like it is a new band. You know. There's been a shot in the arm for us, but you know, the people that haven't seen them, this is the way to get through to them is with an actual album, you know, because there'll be people that are not going to see. This is the only way they're going to know what it's all about. You know? So anyway, that's a long way of saying I am really happy with the album.
And for those people that foolishly have not heard the album yet, is there a track you point them to that say this is really representative of how you sound?
You know, there isn't, because I mean you've got 4 songwriters on this album, you know, and they're very distinctive. Everybody's got Carol's style more. Everybody's got a kind of style, you know. I can tell who's written what if you hadn't have told me, you know. But I know the ones I did, obviously, but the ones that the other guys do. So they're all different kinds. Like what's Nazareth known for is for diversity. Anyway. It's always been like that with the band. It's always been. We never did an album with all kind of one thing on it. You know, we try not to repeat ourselves with albums as well. So it's still in that sort of tradition that it's more of a rock album all the way through than any other Nazareth albums in the near past. You know, but to say a track, I mean, who could say? Tattooed on My Brain is the title track, and there's a video of that, so obviously people are going to see that anyway, whether they want to or not. The Secret is Out, I really like that one. It's a real straightforward kind of rock song. I like that one a lot. State of Emergency, Pole to Pole. Those 4 are kind of covers all the sort of different styles in the album, I think. So my favourite track is 4 of them at the moment.
Excellent. And now that Carl is the front and centre on stage and the lead singer for Nazareth, was there a sense of the rest of the band, the whole band, having to up its game to deliver a new album that was worthy, I guess, of the legacy?
Well, it had to be this, like I said before. I mean, this we couldn't go in and just say, well, let's see how it's done, as we often do when we go in with any album we've done. In the past, we went in and said, well, let's see how it turns out, you know, and hope it's a good one. This one we went in, we were kind of nervous going in, you know, because, well, it was with a new singer, and we hadn't recorded with him before, although we got to know him really well with all the live stuff we've done. We never recorded with him before, so it was a wee bit, you know, I wonder how it will be. But the one thing we did know is it's got to be good. It's really got to be good. We've got to be really, you know, when any songs come in, you know, they really had to make it. Don't want any album fillers on it. And I know everybody says that about every album. This one we've achieved it. You know, we get 13 tracks and they're all meaningful. And it was different for. It's the first time he's recorded with us, although he's played live. First time we've recorded with him, and everybody works differently in the studio, you know. So we've got our way of doing things that he had to. Well, this is the way we do it, you know. So that was kind of on him, You know, so it was more of a new experience for him than it was for us, because we just play the record as we normally record.
And Dan McCafferty, he left 4 years ago. Has he heard the album? Is he still actively involved?
I saw Dan the day before I come down here, actually, because he's got an album coming out. He's recorded one in the same studio as we did. He's heard a lot of the tracks. I mean, he loves it. He thought the album was great. And when we were actually recording it, see, it's a local studio. The reason we used that studio in the first place when we did the album Wacken Open Air, it's because Dan was getting pretty sick at that time, and this album was very close to where he lives and where we lived. So we're normally recorded in places like Prague or Switzerland or Canada or wherever. So we'd do this one at home, so that he could get back and forward easy enough to the studio. So we had a good time doing it. So we decided to do this one there as well. So it was good for him. He could come along and have a listen to what we were doing, you know, which he did. He came along a couple of times when we were recording, and he was knocked out with the material and with Carl's performance, obviously, you know. So that's great. He's quite happy with the whole thing. Yeah.
And I guess a question that every Nazareth fan will want to ask is, how's Dan doing? How's his health?
Well, he's, you know, I saw him the other day there. I mean, he has good days and he has bad days, you know, because it's that COPD thing he's got, you know, so it's a breathing thing. But I mean, he can still sing. As I just said to you, he made an album there, and because when you record an album, it's different from, you know, a 90-minute set's a different thing when you have to get up there and you have to do it. When you're doing an album, you could do it like this. You sit down and sing a line if you like, or sing a chorus, have a rest and sing it again. So he's still okay for recording, but he's not really good for. He can still do a song or two, you know, live, but not really to do a whole set. He would tell you that himself, you know. But other than that, he's holding his own. You know.
And in terms of the 50th anniversary of the band forming, are there any plans for him to join you for any sort of 50th celebrations? Or?
We're not really got any sort of, you know, I'm trying to forget it, man. We keep going on about this 50 thing. We're not really doing anything like an anniversary concert or anything like that. I've not got anything like that planned. You know, I think we've got a lot of work coming up next year, and of course it's funny, you know, because we've had this for the last 3 years, depending on what country we go to. They've all been 50th anniversary tours. I'm beginning to wonder which one. You know, it's like Ella Fitzgerald's retirement tour. You know, it's going to go on for 10 years. You know, maybe a bit like Elton John's. You know, that's so I don't feel as if it's the proper 50th anyway. You know.
Yeah, I guess it took a few years before your debut album came out as well, so you maybe got a few years to think about it as well. I think
so. I you know, in actual fact, you know, I mean, I keep trying to tell people, in actual fact, that the 50th anniversary for the word Nazareth being Nazareth isn't until 2020, because we actually changed the name, and I should know because I gave the name to the guys. It was 1970 when the guys that formed Nazareth, the 4 guys in the band that became Nazareth, all got together in 1968, which is 50 years ago. But you know, at that time there was actually 6 guys in that band, the Shadettes. There was a keyboard player and another guy playing bass, and it eventually dwindled down to the beginning of 1970. You know, late '69 when I started playing bass. When the keyboard went at the beginning of 1970, we changed the name to Nazareth then. So really and truly, the actual Nazareth name has still got another couple of years to go, and who knows? I don't even know if I'll be on this side of the grass then. So you know, we'll have to wait and see if I get a proper 50th.
And I know, I'm sure in every interview people ask you about Dan, but the one that occurred to me that doesn't get mentioned a lot is Manny Charlton. So
never seen him for so long, you know. Well, Manny's I think he's moved back to. He was out in America for a long time. 20 years anyway, and he moved back to Spain. He's moved to Spain, and he's been there, I believe, for the last 2 or 3 years. I never really seen Manny. I mean, what another thing that people forget is, like, Jimmy has played in the band as a guitar player for 25 years. He's the longest serving, you know, Nazareth guitar player. He's not really the new guy, you know. It's that long. I know Manny was the original guy on all the records, the hit records, because that's when everybody had their hit records. That's when the Rolling Stones had their hit records, you know. But they're still touring. I mean, they're the same guys. No, so I never really seen him. The last time I saw Manny was, I think, was just after Darryl died. So that was a a long time, just about 20 years ago. So if they ask me about him, I really can't tell you that much. I'll tell you the truth. I think he's got a band together out in Spain. I see a couple of things on YouTube, but I don't know what he's up to. We're not really in touch.
So, talking about Europe, I'm not sure whether we're still in Europe, but because we're in London today. Tour dates you've got coming up. I see you're playing in Germany and also in Switzerland in November and December. Mm-hmm. Not planning to go to Spain to perhaps play with Manny, but
oh no, well, we'll never have ever be. No, you talking about I'm playing in the band? No, nobody that's in the band before will ever play in the band again. I mean, that's never, no matter who they are. This is the lineup, and that's it. So that'll never happen. But we have got some dates in Spain next year, as it so happens, I believe. Madrid and 2 or 3 other places that they're not in the dates sheet yet. But in that tour that's coming up, it's mainly Germany, Austria, Switzerland.
That's right, yeah.
I think I remember that.
And in terms of the next opportunity to see Nazareth in the UK, I know you've been busy.
Well, there's another thing. I'd like to. I'm having to talk with the agency. I'd like to try and maybe get some dates in January, even. While it's just after the albums come out. We're trying to get something together. So we've never. The UK has never been our biggest market. It's like, so to actually put a tour together in the UK, it's not as easy as you think. Like with us, we've got to watch what venues we can do and stuff. So, it's not, nothing's been arranged so far for next year. But I mean, next year there's a lot of open months still.
If I could just stick in there for a second, I saw you in Germany this year at Wacken Festival.
That was a cracker, wasn't it?
Cracker, yeah, 3,000 people in that the indoor tent.
Aye.
And the great thing about it, what I thought, was you played the song Dream On. You're talking about England. Not really a popular song here in the UK, but in Germany, everybody sang every single word.
Aye, everybody goes on about this heavy metal, my arse, okay? But it doesn't matter where you play. I've been at all these metal festivals, and you get them all there with the studs and the chains and the tattoos and everything like that, and we play Love Hurts and they're all crying on each other's shoulders and the ballads are always the killers, they all love them, Simon, I was having a look at this Spotify thing, which has always intrigued me, this thing, and they were showing the figures, how much what people are playing and what they're looking at, and they've got the whole list of the top 20, I think, tracks for Nazareth for the last month there, in all the countries that come in, and the things that predominantly are is like Dream On, Love Hurts, Where Are You Now? It's all these ballads all the way down that people are actually listening to. So I always say to the guys, we'll have to do the Nazareth fireside set. We can all get the chairs out and do a big tour of the ballads. Have a cup of tea and that.
You might need to rename the band Bethlehem or so to make it distinct from Nazareth as a rock band.
No, but it is funny because as you say at Wacken, when we did Dream On, they were louder than us. I mean, there was actually 10,000 people in that tent.
Yeah,
And when they all started singing Dream On, it's kind of weird because he sings the first verse on his own and the band's to come in. So, you've got to kind of pay attention. Well, it was hard for us to come in because we couldn't hear Carl. It was all the audience. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
That was magical, what he was.
So you talked about Love Hurts. So cover versions, you've got a great history of cherry picking some great cover versions. Are there any new ones that you've tried with Carl or that could have gone on the album?
No, really, because we never ever looked for cover versions. It was just things that happened. When we did Love Hurts, it was just a thing. We'd listen to Graham Parsons and Emily Harris. We used to drive out in our van in the early days when you're driving all over Britain and Europe, through the night and stuff, and you had your nighttime tape. And that was one of them, and Joni Mitchell's This Flight Tonight, that was another one. And My White Bicycle by Tomorrow, they were on the van tape. And now and again we go, we don't have to play that, let's try that. And when we were doing the Hair of the Dog album down in Kent, we needed, at that time, every time you did an album, they used to take a track from the album, and then they'd take another track off and put it in the B-side, which was horrible because you were stripping the album off, with the singles. So people started to record B-sides then, And a lot of the B-sides that bands did, they get drunk, go in and do a 12-bar blues, and that was your B-side. And it's so funny because that became people's favourite track from them, but never mind. And we decided that we would do a couple, and we did Love Hurts. and that was supposed to be a B-side for whatever came off Fear of the Dog. And it was Jerry Moss and A&M Records, when he heard Love Hurts. The track that we had on the album was Guilty, the Randy Newman track, and that was on that album all over the world, except the American copy. He took that off and put Love Hurts on it. Thank God he did, like. And it became our biggest hit ever. So, but we never actually thought, oh, we'll go and let's look for a song to cover, you know, like you were saying. And the same with This Flight Tonight, it was a kind of, you know, it happened by accident. So we never really sort of said, oh, let's find a song to cover. I mean, if there was something that everybody would say that you've had a favourite song, you know, then we would have done it. There was one that we tried. I think it's actually on that 50th compilation. We always thought we've got to do something ludicrous, because we did a Bob Dylan song, you know, when we did the Hollis Brown, and that was, I mean, if anybody, the people tell us that was one of their favourite tracks, and the way that happened is when we did Loud and Proud, the album, after Razamanaz, they were both done in the same year. At that time we used to do an album a year, and that was your contract. So we did that Razamanaz, it was a huge hit, and B&C Records wanted another record right away. 6 months later in the studio, we know enough material, but we played the Loud and Proud, and it was almost Razamanaz Part 2, that record. But we had like 8.5 minutes that we needed to fill. So we had no idea what we were going to do, so we said, Darryl, go in and play some of the drums, big, long, slow, battery thing. And he just went in and played for 9 minutes, this thing, and a couple of breaks. And then they said, right, I'll go in, and I played this da-da-da, big, heavy bass, buzzy bass. This was in Apple Studios, round the corner here. And I played that. We still didn't know what the song was going to be, right? And we had this big, buzzy, long, heavy, big track. And it was Dan had said, what? He said, what about Hollis Brown? It's got loads of verses. We could probably sing that over it. Okay, go and have a go. So Dan went in and started chanting this Hollis Brown thing, and we thought, that'll do. And it was so funny because one of the bits in it that he says 7 people dead, and there's this big drum part. It sounds as if that was all rehearsed. It wasn't. It was an accident, you know. But there again, people come and tell us that that's their favourite track. We didn't even know what that track was going to be. We just knew we had 8.5 minutes of drums, you know. So there you go. There's a cover version that was, you know. And the one other one that we did, but we never finished it. We never really made it. Was SOS with Abba. We always wanted to do an Abba song, and we did a version of it, but we never really ever finished it. The thing is, when you do a cover version, is we've always said you've got to make the song yours, you know, and say that, not just cover it like, you know. We had too much of that when we were in a cover band, when we were in the all playing the ballroom days with the Shadettes. Everybody judged you by how good you were because it was just like the record. It was just like the record. I don't want to play just like the fucking record, man. You know, you want it to make it yours, you know. And so what happened? That's what we did. You know, when you got a record like Joni Mitchell's This Flight Tonight, now there's no way that sounds anything like Joni, you know. And it's the same with Love Hurts, and nothing like Graham Parsons. So it was done. But when we did SOS, we just couldn't change it enough, you know. We got through with, no, this is really working, you know. But I still think there's a version of it on the 50th anniversary thing. I think somebody said, well, it's good enough, it's going on there, you know.
No, it's a fabulous version, yeah. It really is.
Yeah. So if we look at the box set, because there are 2 versions, if you like, of the box set. There's the 5,000 copy limited edition, which has got, I think I counted it, 32 CDs on it, which covers the 23 studio albums, live stuff, rarities, a book that's got extensive notes by Dave Ling, and then there's an anthology, which is a 3 CD, just the key songs.
To me, aye. That's an amazing package, actually. It's funny when you used to say, somebody would say, bring your record round to the house, you know. You're going to have to take a wheelbarrow to take that one, you know. It's an amazing man. I just about killed my postman when he was bringing them up to me. He said, what's in here? You know? And it was 3 copies of the box set. No, the whole thing's amazing. I got, excuse me, I got the box set, and I got the CD, which is that 3 CD thing, which is really nice. It's got a little book thing. It's all sort of put together. And the big vinyl. And I'm not even sure what's in that yet. I haven't opened that one yet. It just arrived just the morning I was coming down to do these interviews, so I haven't seen inside that one yet. But,
yeah, we love the fact that the box set, the limited edition one's called Loud and Proud, because it is a perfect way to describe what's in there. And I think not only there's CDs, there's some vinyl which has got some some limited edition or rare stuff on.
There's
some replica singles on 7-inch singles as well as the booklet. So
and there's
fantastic.
a book in there. It's like the Oxford Atlas. It's a real big, very, very well done book on the band as well, and that adds a bit of weight to the box. But it's a great presentation. I was well impressed when I opened it up and I took everything in. I thought, how am I going to put all this shit back in? You know, there's that much stuff to go back in.
Yeah, I think it's going to be stuck in a large box with a big bow on it under many Christmas trees at Christmas. And I believe that was actually released on the 28th of September, so it was already out there, folks.
It's 28. Yeah. It's good timing. You know?
Absolutely.
And, I mean, it's funny. You know, when we're going out on tour and we're going to do the European tour. I mean, you always it'll be handy going to the European tour. So with the new album, so that'll be great. We'll be taking them, you know, to selling the merchandise thing, you know. And then we'll do other things. Somebody said, "Are you taking the box sets?" You know, on the tour. I thought, well, we need a truck, you know, just to take it. So I don't think we'll be selling that one on the tour. No. We need a special trailer to take the record collection on it.
Yeah, so now must be a great time to be in the band. You've got a new album out that's out on the 12th, Tattooed on My Brain. You've got Loud and Proud and Anthology, the little and the large box sets. What I was going to ask in finishing is, what next?
It's an exciting month this has been. You know, with all these releases, the 50 box set, the 50th anniversary box set was 20th September, and then 2 weeks later, you know, is the new one, and the video just came out on the 1st of October. It's unbelievable. Everything's going on at once. It's a very exciting time to be in the band, I've got to say. I don't know. I'd definitely like to make album number 25. Obviously, you know, I'd like to be able to do that, and we've already written a couple of things for that. Mainly, what's up for now is next year's going to be a lot of touring. Because of both of these albums, you know, it's going to, and we always do tour. I mean, we're always a busy band. But I think more so even now that, you know, just you wouldn't believe the amount of things that's come in through the agency just since that video came out last week. That's just a week since the video came out, and the response to that has been. I mean, you see it by the inquiries that are coming in. You know, So I'm fencing off offers now. You know, it's a nice feeling.
So with that, Pete Agnew, thanks very much for your time. I think there's plenty of Nazareth product that people can go and sample and take a look at and listen to. And really looking forward to when you've got some dates in the UK. We'll be there for sure.
Thanks very much, chaps.
Very welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers.